Afternoon, Coach. How's it going?
Good, Jamie. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. I don't want to say that, it's you've been able to breathe a whole lot, but it's maybe just been able to take a quick breath with signing day, pass, take a quick step, take a breath, and then move on to the bowl game and then the next aspect of signing day.
Yeah, it's been really good just to have a little bit of a reset. Just as a staff, we got together and kind of, celebrated signing day a little bit and, got back to our preparation here the last 2 days and really focused into, the Sun Bowl and what we need to do to compete against a really, really good Miami team. And today I thought was one of our more spirited practices of kind of our bowl preparation. So, we're using all 15, so you got to space them out and you got to, create some energy and some focus. And I thought our guys brought that today. So really moving on to that next phase of it, we finished finals. I'm excited to see how our guys competed in that realm. And then now we're ready to go and move forward into Miami.
And then kind of just when you watched Coach Morris and Coach Ward start to interact with these guys, has something stood out with the way the players are responding to kind of their coaching or their tips or just their introductions to them?
Well, I would say this, Coach Ward right now is, both of them are really just observing, that's kind of the mode that we have to be as we finish 2021. But I just think off to the side, you can just see the conversations and just getting to know our people and our players and just kind of really sharing who they are. And, the biggest thing I told them is what's always been successful for me in my career is just being myself and go out there and be themselves. I didn't ask Brian to come here and try to be a copycat Jake Dickert. I want him to be himself. I want to put his stamp on this defense. Yes, schematics will be very similar, okay, but the energy and how we teach it and the mindset of it will be his own, and it'll be our defense. And I'm excited about the blend of what can be there. And Coach Morris is an energy guy, and our offense through this time has been very professional. They've been working together. I still give credit to Coach Smith and his just what he's doing every day to make sure we're finishing out 2021 the right way. He's been an ultimate professional, and Coach Morris has been showing, they're just having a unit meeting right now and just kind of getting together and just showing the vision of what we're going to be without getting into specifics. So it's been a unique blend, but I think everyone's handled it really well.
And then I think it was on signing day, you went on to the radio and, were asked about Jaden, potentially transferring or something like that. And you quickly shot it down. Where do you have any idea where that kind of started, and what have kind of the conversations been with Jaden about that kind of that rumor?
Well, I would say this, that would obviously be news to me. That's why I shot it down, until I hear from any source. That's kind of, my mindset always. And, the biggest thing you got to realize, what's happening in college football is unprecedented and unique. Okay. And you worry about tampering. I think Coach Sweeney talked about it the other day. There's third parties in these kids' ears immediately, and it's a challenging time that we as a college football has to get figured out, and everyone, whether it's a coaching change or a situation or a change of offense, they start to kind of pry on some of those guys. So it's a tough landscape that we're all working through as coaches, and we're trying to be above reproach. I know we have been here at Washington State and doing it the right way within the rules of finding pieces that work for our team. But that's not how everyone operates, so there's always rumors, there's always talk, there's always chatter. But at the end of the day, my job is to always have a competitive environment and bring the best guys in here for the team in the future, so I don't know where that stuff comes from. I try to stay out of it. I'm just focused on, everything I've ever said has been with Jaden's focus. And, I think that was the mindset of hiring Coach Morris and this offense and what we can do. But there'll always be competition. And I said that on signing day, at some point we need to continue to upgrade our young guys at every position, including quarterback. And, the one thing I love about Jaden, he's a competitor, right? He's going to compete his tail off, and he's done that his whole life.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Jamie.
All right, Coach, next one's going to be Colton Clark, spokesman review. Go ahead, Colton.
Afternoon, Coach. How's it going?
Good, Colton. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks a lot. So you've been talking a lot about the young guys and the young on young practices. Are the practices still mostly, kind of centered on the young guys, and among those guys, who's kind of standing out to you?
Yeah, I mean, we now started to shift towards being a little bit more 60-40 of Miami prep for the veterans and then young guys. I think on defense, Ram Stevenson, his progression since he's been here from 204 pounds to 225 pounds right now is just awesome what that kid has done in the last 6 months. And I think he's going to be an instant impact guy and really, compete and be in our package situations next year where he can come in and rush the passer, and he's working on being an every down guy. I think at linebacker, Gavin Barthiel, you just see him flash and start making some plays. Sometimes he doesn't know what the heck he's doing, but, just let him go play ball, and he flashes and he's physical, and he made a pick six the other day that was just like coming out of nowhere. And, Jaden Hicks at the third level continues to grow and get better. And he's turning into a physical specimen now too. So at that size, at that range, that coverage ability, it's just excited to see those three pieces, really working together. And then at wide receiver, Orion Peters continues to catch my eye. Like a kid that missed fall camp. I really got a chance to see him a lot as scout team wide receiver. And then now seeing him, play within an offense and in space and in structure, I just think he's the next Renard and Val and CJ. So I'm just really excited for his future and what he's had the ability to do, as well as Christian Hilborn. I just think he's going to be thrown in there, and his reps have been very valuable over the last couple of weeks. So those are some guys just off the top of my head that are really standing out. And that's what this time of year is for, when you get a chance to earn a bowl game.
And I don't know if you're ready to announce it yet or talk about it, but do you have an update on maybe who won't be playing in the Sun Bowl, or is that, TBA? I
said next week. I'm going to stick to that next week. So we'll make sure we get that to you, though, sometime next week.
And, when looking ahead to your recruiting goals before the spring, I know maybe it's looking ahead right now, but are there any positions that jump out at you, that you'd most like to get a plug-in play guy that can contribute immediately?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I said on Wednesday. Like, this is the start of the class. Through all the situations that we had, I really made an emphasis that wasn't our first class together. That'll be next year. So we need to put some fill some holes. I think number one is offensive line. I think just through some attrition and some graduation and some numbers over the last couple of years, we need to really reestablish that. And that's going to be a mix of young and old. So we have a lot of work to do to find some guys that can come in and compete immediately, as well as get some size, length for depth for the future of guys that we can develop. So that's going to be a main focus. I talked Wednesday about having the two quarterbacks on the roster. That's not good enough. And then obviously shoring up our tight end position, will be big. I think there's a couple of pieces on defense that we feel really good about and where we're at in the recruiting process. And hopefully we get a chance to, kind of announce those guys here really soon.
Who would you point to if you had to say who your team's most overlooked player or players have been this season?
Well, Armani Marsh wasn't first or second team all conference, and that's disappointing to me. The kid does everything right. He makes plays. He scraps out there, and that was probably one. And I know that's maybe not what you're looking for, but he's the first one that comes to mind to me that just does everything right. He's a leader in the locker room, and then he plays his tail off every Saturday and has results. So I'm not always big into individual awards, but I think, when you go through a lot of things, you see the breadth of what he's putting out on tape week in and week out, never missing a snap, and how we can't even take him off the field because of everything that he does. He's the one that kind of really stands out to me. And I think sometimes, even Deion McIntosh, what a horse. This guy can run and he's physical, and I think he still has a bright future, so those are a couple of guys that I think maybe flew underneath the radar just overall as far as the team goes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, last chance for questions for Coach.
I had a couple of background deals, if that's all right.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm kind of working on a separate thing right now, and I know it's kind of seems random, but I'm wondering for you, how challenging have these past couple of months been, both from a mental, a personal standpoint, not knowing about job security when you're taking over, and now that things are going in the right direction, how rewarding is the everyday now for you?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I think the number one thing I had to do was kind of, put not to the back burner, but a little bit to the side, personal struggles, right? Family struggles, my kids, and like, hey, what's going to happen, Dad, and all those type of things. and, just really kind of focus at the task at hand. And, that was a juggling act. And to your point, it wasn't always easy. And as it kept going, you kind of see everything kind of getting to a point, and knowing that, a decision had to be made at some point. I think the biggest thing is I always respected Pat and President Schultz and the job that they had to do to get this thing right. So I was just very settled on what I did, how I did it, how I, what the vision that I could create for Washington State. So as I went through the whole process, I was very settled in my heart to know that, I gave this place and our players and our university everything that we had. And, the reward, is just one of those things that, when you realize a dream come true, when you realize all the work, you start thinking about maybe all the tough times, when it wasn't always maybe this glamorous or this success, or, I was 3-9 one time in Southeast Missouri, and you don't feel like a very good coach, so it just brought me back, Colton, to just all those times of struggle and moving and the U-Hauls and what it had to do to get to this point, and to have this security at a place I love that fits me so well, that I believe in, and I believe what we could do to rebuild this place and do it right. There's just so much excitement for the future.